One. Welcome to the PAX Capital Podcast, where we talk about wealth, business, mindset, and other tips and resources that can help you grow in all areas of your life. I'm your host, Preston Kyles. And as always, if you haven't gotten that Team Dream Chaser merch, you are slacking. Go get that Eat, Sleep, Invest, Repeat shirt. They still got the Black Friday deals on the store right now as we speak. So if you're watching this or you listen to this, go get that merch right now. With that being said, to start the show off, we have another great, amazing guest for the show today. And I would like to introduce our guest, Chris Chaidez. Welcome to the show, Chris.
How are we doing? Excited to be here.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to have you. Glad to have you, man. So for those who are listening, if you don't know, I brought Chris on the show because me and Chris actually went to high school together. And after a little bit after we graduated, we met up and we have been talking about business and stuff like that. And Chris is doing some big things with his life. And Chris is a person who gets it in terms of business and mindset and what it takes to take your life to the next level. So with that being said, Chris, appreciate you for coming on the show. And we're going to get right into it. So tell us a little bit about your background, like life growing up for you. So why don't you go ahead and get into that for us?
I guess we'll start it way back. So I was born and raised in Morris, Illinois, like Preston just said. Yeah, rep the 60450. But both my parents, they're both from Mexico. So the child of two immigrant parents. Obviously, that affected the way that I grew up and the way that I kind of looked at the world right off the bat. Because I'm sure. And I'm sure a ton of your viewers can relate to this, but like just growing up with, typically minority parents, or even for me, more specifically, immigrant parents, you see some of the struggles they had to go through. You really hear some of the things that they had to go through in order to get you there. So really, I think it really creates this kind of mentality from the beginning where it's like, you're able to appreciate a little bit more. You're able to be more grateful for what they gave you. And because of that, you can kind of elevate yourself a little bit more. So that kind of going into that's kind of what I guess sort of drove me throughout my youth, and then obviously now kind of what I'm doing. But yeah, I grew up in Morris, like Preston just said, went to high school with him. A couple of fun years in Morris Community High School. Shout out the Redskins, shout out the Redskins or whatever they're named now. But
yeah, about that.
Right, yeah. But yeah, it was a good growing up. I played soccer, tennis growing up, had a pretty solid friend group. One thing that my dad always told me growing up was, show me the 5 people you associate with, and I'll tell you who you are, and I'll tell you where you're going. So that was a gem. It's not gem hour yet, but that was a gem that he gave me when I was young. And, that really kind of drove that too. So I graduated from high school, and then ended up going to Bradley University in Peoria. So if you're familiar with, Peoria is about an hour and a half south of Morris.
Yeah,
it's an interesting city, but had 5 years there. So I started.
I like Peoria. I've been through there. I've seen you at campus. A couple of my other homeboys went to Bradley too. So I like Peoria. Peoria is decent.
I forgot freshman year you came through to visit Jacob Halstead. That was a good time. But yeah, I went to Bradley, started off studying biology, pre-medicine, and then I realized I didn't want to go to school for 12 years. Figured that I kind of like the business marketing approach a little bit more. So I switched over to international business and marketing, picked up a minor in French. So obviously I already had the Spanish, so I picked up a minor in French. Graduated in 2020 in the middle of, this whole thing, the whole pandemic thing, obviously. So it was a weird ending, but right now what I'm doing is basically working at a kind of a local startup. It's an international startup based out of the UK, but they just opened an office here in Fort Lauderdale. So that's where I'm at right now. Just moved down here, but working there, doing a few other side projects, and here we are, present day.
I like that. So let's get into your story a little bit more. So let's go back. What made you do that flip? Besides, I know obviously, no one wants to do 12 years of school, but you switched gears and you went into business. So what was that real switch that made you realize like, oh, let me go put my feet in the water with business and see how this is going to work for me? What made you go that route?
the realization that like I just said, it's a ton of school to go to pre-med. You have to really be dedicated to that. And B, it's kind of a static thing. So like, I mean, not saying that you can't do a ton of stuff with medicine, of course you can. But when I looked at business, and I actually had a buddy who jumped over to international business first, so that obviously helped me. But when you look at business, there's just so much you could do. I mean, even the hospital itself is a business, right? So someone there has to be running that. You know, I mean, everything, if you think about it, is a business in a way, and everything has some kind of marketing to it too. Because, you know, without marketing, you can't get sales. Without marketing, you can't get branding. Without marketing, you can't, you know, let people know what your business is about. Exactly. So it just made sense to me, and I figured, you know, I think the medicine field is super noble, super cool, and huge hats off to everyone who does it. But to me, no, it's crazy. But to me, it was just like I just saw the opportunity, and I wanted to, and I like traveling, so international business helps with that a little bit too.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. It's so crazy, just like I was saying, because when I went to school, I first started out as a website designer and software builder. So I was designing websites, and then I made that flip to go into business myself. So it's crazy once you make that flip to go into business, like how your whole life can change just from stepping into the business field. And so you said that you're currently working for a startup. So what's the name of that company?
IBT Online, and it stands for International Business Technology Online. And essentially what it is, so like I said, it was started it's not, I say startup, but it was started 17 years ago. Gotcha. But recently there was kind of a pivot towards more online. So it used to just be IBT partners, and then it was a pivot into online. So basically, I mean, you just said you did, you know, website development and that stuff. Basically what it is we develop, so let's say you're a small to medium-sized business, and you're like, all right, I want to start exporting in Mexico, and I want to start exporting in Australia. So .com website, obviously Google is like super searcher centric. When you look something up on Google, it's going to show you results that are, you know, on the google.com, that are in English, that are, you know, specific with SEO for, you know, wherever you're at. So it's very localized. Basically what we do is we develop websites, but then we host them in the target country. So let's good examples, Mexico. We'll do, instead of a .com, it's a .mx. So that's the domain for Mexico. And then we'll do translating in Spanish, and then we'll do, you know, international online marketing for the Mexican audience. So we look at all those, we do all the research, and we do all that kind of, you know, the fun backward. Honestly, I don't do any of that. I'm just a business development manager. So I do the sales, I do the talking, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's, you know, especially now with so many things going digital, it's a really cool,
Yeah, that's good, man. You said they weren't so much focused on the online portion, but they moved. That's, if for people that's listening, I just had the word, it just slipped my brain. Innovation, when you continue to change, instead of staying behind and it's my way or the highway, you have to adapt and innovate to the new ways. So big shout out to the company that you're working for that's doing that. That's what's up. And so we've gone through who you are, your company, but now let's get into more of some things that Chris is working on outside of that job. What are those next couple of big entrepreneur things that Chris has in mind that he wants to do? I want to hear about those, and so do the listeners.
Yeah, no, it's so I've got a few ideas. You know, it's nothing concrete, but basically about a year ago, and we're talking about innovation. So a little bit more backstory, I guess. I did international business marketing, and then I think one thing about, you know, having a degree, I have it right in a way that, you know, a degree really is just a piece of paper that says, hey, I studied this, I learned this, but show any application. So what I did was I went and got digital marketing certification, and then I got a certified global business professional certification.
Huge.
Yeah, but I was like, all right, this is still just a piece of paper. So with marketing especially, I mean, obviously you understand this, video marketing is huge. Content marketing, having the right pictures, having, you know, like all these things that are really nitpicky that people don't really think about is kind of like, it's like the whole base of the brand. Kind of did a little pivot, and about a year ago, I decided I'm going to start investing into like learning more content marketing. So I bought a camera off one of my friends, who was a photographer, or still does it, and he bought a new one. He's like, all right, I'll sell you this one for cheap. So I got a Canon, a Nikon D3 400 camera with an adjustable lens, and then I bought a drone. And
Hey,
I started teaching myself off YouTube just how to edit, how to cut, videos, how to use Premiere Pro, how to use Premiere Rush, Photoshop, Lightroom. So just kind of the basics.
uh,
So that was kind of a pivot because I kind of knew that if I wanted to stand out, I had to actually have some applicable skills. Like I said, like
exactly.
everything else, yeah, everything else is just pieces of paper. It's just like I know what I'm doing, but it's not applicable. So skills. And basically, this idea that I had at that time too was I kind of want to start some kind of content marketing business.
Mm,
So,
I like that.
and I remember I talked about a year ago with you about this.
Yep,
I
we were
asked
sitting
you,
in your
yeah,
driveway talking about it.
yes, yeah. Nah, and then we talked about it, and then I was like, all right, like tell me a little bit about like, how to set up the business. And I remember you pointing me in the right direction with like getting my DBA, going to the courthouse, getting all that taken care of, the
Yep.
bank account, getting, that kind of stuff taken care of. So started doing that. So I have that backdrop. It's called AIRETE marketing, but that's kind of more of a long-term thing. I have someone building a website now. But short term, what I'm kind of doing right now, and I've talked to you a little bit about it too. It's called stands for spreading knowledge using tactics,
Yep.
which is a really cool brand that I know a few guys. So like I said, I live in Fort Lauderdale. A few guys down in Miami that I know. They've been running this brand for a while, a couple years now. I think it's super, super cool. Like the clothing is, they design. We're kicking off podcasts. We're doing, different photo shoots and stuff.
I'm
So
gonna have podcasts coming soon with them. Stay tuned, by the way, for all the listeners.
yeah, but yeah, that's really the kind of the short term. And they've got a great team. They've got a few good guys. Yesterday we hopped on a phone, talked strategy, talked content, talked all that fun stuff. So excited to be part of that too, and just continue getting better at it.
Got you, got you. That's what's up, man. So I gotta ask. So, obviously you've been doing a lot of more business stuff lately. So do you feel like over time you kind of just had the business skills, or you had to kind of grow into your business skills to get to where you are in terms of dealing with sales and all that right now?
I think it's really about growth, 100%. I
Hmm.
think part of it is just like kind of believing. Like I think a big thing about business is you have to believe that you can improve. Like because
Yeah.
business is really just a system. It's just a process. You have to believe that you can improve it, and you have to be
Yep.
willing to think out of the box for a few things. So I think that was like the original thing where I was like, all right, I think I can do something better than maybe the current process is. But then yeah, it's just about just experience, just doing different things, taking on different leadership positions, having that responsibility, and harder than maybe someone else is to really get ahead. But yeah, I think it's really about growth, and it's really about just having that experience. And even if you don't know what you're doing, just not really fake it till you make it, but just put the work in, and it'll work out.
You never
Works
know
itself out.
what you never know what's gonna happen until you do it, till you get your feet wet, till you start. I also like to say that I've heard this billions of times that exposure changes your life. So when you start getting exposed to different things instead of seeing the same old things every day, your life can really start to change and go to that next level because you're not surrounded with the same old thing every single day of your life. You're seeing something new, whether it's a new person, new situation, new state, new whatever. Exposure is good for you. So I love that you were talking about the whole growth part because we as humans, we got to grow somehow. So the more that we grow, the better that our life is, but also the opportunity that we get to increase our skills. And when you can increase your skills, you can get a paycheck, a nice paycheck.
And sometimes you got to put the work in. You got to put the work in unpaid because
Oh,
you put in. I don't remember. There's this Kobe quote that I was. I'm gonna misquote it, so I won't even try to quote it. But he was basically talking about just the amount of hours that he put in, like even before a game. Like like he was always working, always working, always working. The only time you really see it is when he's out there on the on the court. Like
yeah. The proof is in the pudding. When you put in that work, it will show. That's the one thing most people don't understand. It's like when you put in the work, the necessary work to get to where you got to be, it will show. And if you don't put in the work, it will still show. So it's like what's done in the dark comes to the light. So it's like either A, you put in the work, or B, you didn't put in the work. So either way it goes, we're gonna find it out. So yeah, man, I love that. I love that. So let's get into the gem dropper part. So this is that portion of the podcast where we ask Chris to give the audience a gem, something that he went through or he heard, or just something that really made him shift his mindset and have that life-changing moment that was like, you know what? I got to change my life, and it's success from here on out. No more looking back. So give that audience, maybe it's 1 to 2 gems. Like I said, a situation went through, whatever it is, drop that gem on the audience, man. They would love to hear it. Something they can change, that can change their lives.
Really is, I was who said it, but the quote is that, you know, either way, life is going to be difficult, but you can choose your difficult. So you can either, you know, have the difficulty of not living the life that you want to build for yourself. You can have the difficulty of not putting in that work, because, you know, the work is always going to be difficult, but you could have that chance to not put in the work. It's still going to be tough. So you get to pick your tough, I guess. So you can either just choose to kind of drift, which is fine, you know, like nothing, or you could choose the other difficulty, which is, you know, get your ass to work, figure out, you know, structure your day, schedule this, you know, put in that work. Because either way, at the end of the day, you know, you're going to bed, you're tired, you know, you're like, damn, I had a long day. But really, how you capitalize on that day really depends on which difficulty you're willing to take. So regardless, it's going to be difficult. You know, there's obviously, I mean, you know, you should be grateful for every day, but you know, it's always going to have its obstacles. It's going to have that. So you just have to choose your difficulty. You have to choose which obstacles you want to take on, basically.
I like that. That's fire. That's fire, bro, because that really is true. We all have the same 24 hours in our day, but what we do with our 24 hours makes the difference of whether we're going to be in the same position as yesterday or further ahead tomorrow. You feel me? So I really love that, because I'm big on that. Like there are some days where, you know, we're human. So of course we're going to make mistakes, or we're going to lack, we're going to have errors. So, you know, I have my days where I may not be at my full capacity, but 95% of my days, it's what can I knock out today? What can I use in these 8 to however many hours that I'm going to be up? What can I use to excel? My goals, my business goals, me and my girlfriend's goals, whoever I'm around, whatever I'm in, what can I use these hours today to excel instead of accepting defeat and doing the same old thing over and over again? All right. So with that being said, we have reached the end of our show. So if you are listening, we would appreciate a 5-star review, because those reviews are how we grow this show. And before we end the show, I actually want to ask Chris if you could go ahead to drop all your social media so that people can follow you, stay connected with you, whether it's, you know, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever. Drop it all so the people, and I'll make sure to put it in the show notes as well.
My personal Instagram, Chris Chaidez. The SKUTgram, at SKUTgram is the SKUT, obviously, Instagram. And then the AIRETE one, _AIRETE_. So I'll send you all those. But yeah, give me a follow. A lot of good things coming on, and really looking forward to having you on the SKUT podcast too. So
I can't wait, man. I'm excited.
We'll chop it up. It'll be a good one. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. So, all right, Chris. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Like I said, if you've been listening, leave us that 5-star review. Let us know what you like to hear, what you didn't like, and how we can continue to grow. So with that being said, we are out of here. I'm your host, Preston Kyles. Peace. We will